Tola and Skaya. We are doing a very quick PS to a previous video, which was the video of Leo Sun and Aries North Node. Now, the story behind this PS is that we created the Leo Sun, Aries North Node video quite a long time ago, because we like to have a backlog of certain videos to make sure we have material on a pretty regular basis for the channel. So we had created that before we had a request to make a video that was a Leo Sun with Aries North Node with a little bit of an extra bonus about what it means if the Aries North Node is in the third house. So that video did not include the information about the Aries North Node in the third house. So we wanted to add that little piece for our special request. Yes, so. So I'm wondering where we should start with that, because usually when we've said it, we've integrated it sort of naturally into the flow of things. Now, I would imagine in terms, were you going to say something, Katja?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, I would imagine in terms of the people making the request that we weren't likely dealing with a first stage Leo. It's not impossible, but probably not. So the South Node in the 9th house in Libra, so South Node in Libra would be too inclined to be people-pleasing, and 9th house, we're talking about having to know everything for everybody. That would be the Leo pressure that the South Node in Libra would be sitting underneath. I'm going to please everybody by giving them the higher understanding, which is interesting because that might indicate a person who might have already come into this lifetime in second, third stage. So there's a certain kind of higher understanding there. It could also indicate a person who has a lot of lifetimes involved in higher education in some way, because that's one of the things the 9th house rules. So they may have had a lot of higher learning as a way to prove to the world that they're valid, because second stage Leos always have to do big things in order to feel like maybe people will actually accept them and like them, because they have such high standards for themselves. So this is the person who may have had a lot of knowledge that a lot of people don't have access to, that they felt like they then have to serve and give and help other people with all of that knowledge, and it's a big recipe for burnout all the time. You have to teach all your students and please all your students. You know, when you come home, you fall through the door instead of just have a normal come in and sit down and enjoy your evening.
Yeah.
So the Aries North Node would say, well, I need to be me. I need to know who I am instead of pleasing everybody else. And at the same time, putting it in the third house means that third house relationships are the people you can be yourself with, the people you can hang around with, your brothers and sisters when you were kids, especially if we're looking at that third house from the vantage point of what Leo needs in order to be in third stage. To be in third stage, it's about play, and it's about loving yourself and being in the moment. The third house has a quality of that. It has a quality of the child's exploration of life. I have the child's exploration of life while I'm really realizing my right to be myself. There's a lot of joy in falling in love with myself while I explore my immediate environment like a happy little kid and discover new things instead of having to be the know-it-all that pleases everybody, because that gets really old and tired.
Yes. Yeah, I think going along right with that is, I can almost see someone having to move away from knowing the answer and having the answer to everything to more being comfortable with questions. I think of the third house as being resonant with questions more than answers. And so there's that like happiness and playful spontaneity with being in the questions rather than having to have the answers.
And sometimes being questions about simple little things instead of world-altering, philosophical, concepts and political ideologies and, big answers to big
Yes.
questions.
Yes.
It's like, let's take this thing apart and find out what it's made of. I've never done something like this before. How do you use
Yes.
a screwdriver? Hey, this is fun.
Yes. Yep.
So somebody might enjoy just doing little projects that they don't necessarily know a whole lot about, but
Mhm.
it's fun. It feels like there could be a hands-on experience.
Yes. Hands-on, definitely. Yep. Yeah. That makes sense to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
Again, just friends and buddies, and again, you don't have to know everything. They're not asking for you to answer any questions for them or look after things for them. It's just hangout buddies.
Yep.
But people who would also have pretty generally good self-esteem. So finding friends who are more in the same stage as you,
Mm-hmm.
second, third stage, or third stage.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, sometimes this concept of third stage astrology can give the image that third stage astrology people are also enlightened and brilliant and involved in these earth-shaking concepts and forms of expression. But sometimes just being in the moment, doing something that doesn't really mean a whole ton.
Yes. Yes.
A real expression of the divine in its own right.
Absolutely. And especially with Leo, right? Because they've spent so many lifetimes putting pressure on themselves to make like earth-shattering impact on
Yes.
the world. And then for them, actually, the path of integration is to not care so much. Not to not care in a callous way or in a careless way, but to just take that pressure off of themselves completely, to have a little bit more fun, to have things be a little more light. I mean, the third house as compared to the ninth is a lot more superficial.
Yes.
And, it's interesting that superficiality has such a bad rap, but actually we need it. If things were deep and heavy all the time, I mean, we would really need something to balance that out.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really good point, and I think that probably completes our PS.
Perfect. Bye.